Order up, Jake yells out as he rings the bell on the countertop. I wipe my hands off on my apron as I walk over and take the plates and carry them over to table 3. Cheeseburger with fries? I ask as I watch the man with the horns on his head put his left hand up. I set the plate down in front of him. Which means the chicken fried steak is yours, I say with a soft smile as I set it down in front of a woman wearing a bright green dress that matches her eyes. I turn on my heels and head back to the counter to grab the pitcher of sweet tea. As I walk past the rowdy table full of men with matching tattoos, some of them demons with a few humans fixed in, I feel someone grab my wrist and yank hard, causing me to stumble back. I look at the demon with short dark hair and an ugly scar going down his face. He smirks at me, showing his sharp fangs. What's a sexy little thing like you doing working here? He asks as I plaster a fake smile on my face. I got to pay the bill somehow, I say as I try to pull my wrist out of his tight grip. I have a better way you can pay your bills, he says as he licks his lips and trails his eyes up and down my body. Seriously, I get guys like this almost every day. I don't think my boyfriend would like what you are hinting around. Now I would appreciate it if you would let go, I say in a stern tone as I try to pull myself free. Come on, your boyfriend doesn't have to know. It will just be our little secret. He laughs as his grip gets tighter. I suggest you let her go before I burn your face off. Kristin snaps as her left hand starts to glow, causing a little spark as a fireball appears in her hand. The guy lets go and puts his hand up over his chest. Chill out, it was just a bit of fun, he says as he and his group of friends get up. Let's get out of here before someone calls Damian's guard dogs on us, the human with short brown hair says as he leaves the money for the bill on the table and they all leave. I let out a sigh of relief. Thanks for that, Kristin. I don't know what I would do without you. Kristin smiles. No problem, can't let my best friend get hurt, she says as she closes her hand around the fireball, putting it out. You should start dating again. It has been 6 months. You need to get back out there. I roll my eyes as I pick up the money from the table and carry it over to the cash register. I enter my code and start placing the money inside. I just don't want to date at the moment. In truth, my last relationship didn't end very well. He cheated on me and maxed out all my credit cards, leaving me in debt. Not to mention the asshole showed up at my apartment while I was working and trashed the place. Come on, girl. You need to get laid, she bluntly says as she grabs the sweet tea pitcher. Hey, I was going to do that, I tell her as she laughs. I got it, she says as she starts refilling cups. I close the register and grab the coffee pot. Want a refill, Mr. Martin? I ask as he smiles at me. Yes, that would be great, he says in a low tone as I refill his mug. Mr. Martin has been a regular since I started here. He is a really sweet and respectful old man. He even remembers mine, Kristin, and Jake's birthdays. I wish we had more customers like him. Let me know if you need anything, I tell him as he gives a soft nod, reaches his old wrinkled hands out, and picks up his mug to take a sip. I grab a hand towel and dip it in the hot water mixed with bleach as I start wiping down empty tables. It is getting late and we only have 3 tables being occupied by consumers. Kristin lets out a yawn. Only 4 hours until we close. I'm so ready for bed. Today was really busy and rush hour was insane, she says as she speaks louder, almost like we need to hire more people. I laugh as Jake just waves her off. He isn't going to hire more people. It took him 4 months to decide if he really wanted to hire me. I tell her. Jake is very cautious of the people he hires. Since this diner has been in his family for generations, he can also come off as an asshole, but once you get to know him, he is actually a pretty good guy. Yeah, only because you wouldn't leave, Jake says as he walks out of the kitchen and pours himself a cup of coffee at the counter. Kristin smiles. You know very well that hiring Willow was the best decision you ever made. But we do need at least one more person to help out, she tells him as Jake sighs. I will consider the idea of hiring one more person, if it will stop your whining, Jake says as he sips on his coffee and stares out the diner windows. Looks like we have another group of customers, he says as he walks back into the kitchen. I watch as 5 demons walk up to the door. The bell chimes as the door opens and they all enter. Each one of them screams with power as they walk inside. They are wearing black pants with matching black suits and jackets, cling tightly around their bulging muscles. They are the top guards from Damian's clan. Unlike the normal guards around town that keep the peace and wear brown uniforms, these guys are in Damian's inner circle. However, I never seen them on this part of town. They normally go to the high places. Kristin says as she grabs her notepad. Got to admit they're hot. Kristin says, winking at me as she walks over to the table the men are now seated at. I watch as a man wearing a black shirt that clings to every muscular part of his upper body. His huge muscular arms are tatted in black ink. I swallow hard as I watch him pull his phone from his gray sweatpants pocket using his left, while his right hand goes up to shaggy black hair as he runs his fingers through it. My face turns bright red as the man smirks at me and walks over to the group of men wearing black suits and has a seat with them. That's just great, I got caught checking out a hot guy. I'm a dumbass. I watch as Jake suddenly comes out from the kitchen and walks over to the table. Hey, Damian, long time no see. Jake says, greeting the man in the black shirt. Damian smiles at Jake. Yeah, it has been Jake. He says to him as Kristin finishes taking orders and walks over to me. Jake knows Damian. I whisper to her. Kristin laughs softly. Well, yeah, he used to work for him before he took over his father's business. I don't know why you're shocked. We're going to run into Damian at some point. After all, he runs this town, although I don't know why they are on this side of town. Something must be wrong. Kristin says as she starts the coffee pot to make fresh coffee. I look at Kristin's notepad. They just ordered drinks? No, food. I asked. Kristin nods. Yeah, just coffee and a few cappuccinos. She says as Jake finishes his talk with Damian and walks over to us. After you deliver the drinks to their table, start cleaning up. We need to close early and you two need to get home. Jake tells us as he heads into the kitchen. Kristin shakes her head. Yep, something is wrong all right. He never closes early for anything. Must be something bad. One thing I know about Jake is that in the 2 years I worked here, he never closes for anything. He didn't even close the diner down for the snowstorm we had last December. I had to walk in knee-deep freezing snow. I nod my head. Yeah, something is up. I'll help you deliver the drinks. I say as I take the first tray of drinks and head over to the table. I get nervous as I get closers with all their eyes on me. The man sitting close to the window with short sliver hair smiles at me. Jake has some hot girls working here. He says as the man next to him with blonde hair elbows him in the side. Ow! The man next to the window says, and the blonde-haired man next to him speaks. Ignore. Boyd has no manners. I smile softly. No, it's fine. We have dealt with worse. I tell him as I pass coffee out to everyone and Kristin walks over with the rest of the drinks. But it's not anything we can't handle. Plus, Jake has been known to toss out people on his own. Kristin adds. I laugh mentally as I remember the drunk guy Jake tossed out last week for being a little too handy. Well, that's good to know. I am Virgil, by the way. The blonde-haired man says, introducing himself. You already met Boyd. The other three are Jared, Alex, and Dean. Virgil says, introducing the others that give a soft smile. Then you have the boss himself, Lord Damian. Virgil says. I make eye contact with Damian's dark blue eyes. He doesn't say a word as I get lost staring into his eyes. Kristin smiles. Well, you guys know my name already, but this is Willow. She is also single. She says, causing them to chuckle. I break eye contact first, and out of the corner of my eye I can see Damian smirking as he takes a sip of his coffee. I sigh in relief as I can see customers standing at the cash register waiting to pay so they can leave. Well, duty calls. Just let me or Kristin know if you guys need any refills. I say as I turn on my heels and walk towards the cash register. Taking the customer's money, I enter my code into the cash register. Looking at their receipt, I put the money in and give them their change. I can't wait to go home and pop open a bottle of wine. Today has been long and my feet are killing me. Grabbing the broom, I start sweeping the floor. I notice Kristin walking over. Damian's been staring at you. She whispers and has a smirk on her face. Lots of men stare at me. It's nothing new, Chris. I tell her as I finish sweeping behind the counter and move to the lobby area. Yes, but I think he actually likes you. I'm getting a vibe. Kristin tells me. If I listen to her every time she gets a vibe, I would be dating every guy who has walked into the diner. Right, are you sure it's a vibe and you don't just have gas? I ask her as she rolls her eyes. Very funny, but I am being serious. I'm sure it's nothing. Now help me sweep. I tell her as Kristin grabs the other broom. After 20 minutes, I finish sweeping thanks to Kristin's help. Putting the broom away, I noticed Jake was up front talking to Damian outside. However, Damian's eyes are focused on me. It sends a shiver up my spine, so I look away and wipe down the bar stools. I look around satisfied as everything is clean and spotless. In the corner, I see Kristin talking to Virgil. As he walks out the door, I notice Kristin smiling. Then she walks up to me. I got his number, she says cheerfully as she sits on the bar stool. All right, you two go get your stuff and meet me outside. We are closing up, Jake says, walking back inside and locking the front door. Kristin gets off the bar stool. So are you going to tell us what's happening? Let's just say it's about to get bad out here. So head straight home, Jake says as he heads towards the back. Well, then it's a good thing I went shopping for food yesterday. Not only is he closing early, but telling us to head home. Something is definitely going on and I don't want to find out what it is. Please download Novels Ago and search the code in the upper left corner to continue reading.